I was trained as a biologist and have spent some meaningful time at my company, GE, creating a platform for open access to healthcare called Health Imagination. So you might imagine the thrill I have in getting to not only introduce but know Vibin Joseph. Vibin is the CEO of Biozeen, which is an open source vaccine manufacturing and software platform. There's a couple things you need to know about it before you hear his story. It's only 5 years old, and already 2 out of 5 vaccines in the world are manufactured using his open source platform. The big guys, the big pharmaceutical companies, the life science manufacturers like my company have taken note and are partnering with Vibin and Biozeen. Vibin was inspired to take on this challenge. He was trained as a biologist and as an engineer, and he was inspired when talking to a teacher and saw tears in her eyes when talking about the fact that people are suffering, indeed dying, by a lack of access to vaccines. And he said, I'm going to change that. Now, if that's not enough of why he should be an incredible, innovative leader for all of you, I think what Vibin represents is a knowledge of what leadership and innovation is about today and tomorrow. It recognizes that solving the biggest problems can't be done alone. They can't be done in a closed way. It's about collaboration, it's about partnership, and it's about the great energy and insight. And it recognizes that profits with purpose are all that matter. So thank you, Vibin.
Thank you, Beth, for the introduction, and good afternoon, One Young World. A few years ago, I met a young lady from Africa. From her, I learned how millions of children die from preventable diseases, and mothers do not even name their children until they've survived these diseases. And all because her country could not afford the vaccines. I want to share with you my realizations that inspired me to make a difference, and more importantly, create a company to try and solve this problem. Global organized businesses today are bigger than the economy of several countries. For example, the world's biggest pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, has more cash reserves than the United States. Yet, these global organizations feed just a fraction of the global population. And we cannot wait for nations to solve the problems of the world anymore. Global life expectancy is at its highest ever because of vaccines. And yet, despite that, 6.6 million children die every year because vaccines are not universally accessible. And that is a staggering 17,000 children dying every day for a technology that we've already created. But vaccine manufacturing is expensive, partly because of the regulations that have to be followed, and partly because these technologies are owned by just a few companies. Most vaccine manufacturers have to pay to use this technology. These are closed technologies like software from Microsoft and hardware like the Apple iMac, and they're expensive. I've come to believe that life-saving technologies should never be closed when millions die from preventable diseases. Like food, vaccines have to be a birthright. And for this, every single country should have the capacity to manufacture vaccines or buy vaccines. So 3 years ago, my company, I co-founded Biozeen, was born. Its mission to enable companies manufacture vaccines that are affordable and by using a completely new approach, open source technology. We did not have a brand or a legacy and had to overcome skepticism and disbelief. As engineers, we looked at the hardware. There is something called bioreactors in which the vaccines are made. Traditionally, similar bioreactors were used for all the vaccines. We found that we could improve the productivity and reduce the costs by customizing the bioreactors for a particular vaccine. Then we looked at the software and created an open source automation platform to enable manufacturing systems to talk to one another at no additional expense. Companies could use our technology with their existing technologies or with anything they chose. Now, this was a first for the industry. Where previously companies were limited by the choice of consumables, We enabled companies of choice, and with choice came competition, and competition allowed them to reduce the prices, negotiate better, and in the end have better costs of manufacturing. Today, we are a partner to 2 of the 5 biggest vaccine companies in the world, and it's estimated that 1 out of every 3 children around the world get immunized with the vaccines that we help companies manufacture. As I'm speaking, thank you. And as I'm speaking, we're executing a major vaccine project in Africa. That's for diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. And in Europe, for polio. We are helping these companies reduce their costs by 12 to 35%. But more importantly, we are building a business that is humane, holistic, and honest. Today, we are 150 people with an average age of 28, working very hard to save lives. Making profits is a firm second. So this is my story, that David can win against Goliath. When business is pursued the right way, everybody wins. And One Young World, this is my suggestion. When you go back, I urge you to find alternatives to closed technologies. I urge companies to look beyond profits because time is short. Engage with universities because it's the people who should actually grow businesses, not technologies alone. Let us create an ecosystem of collaboration to make a world where everybody wins. So thank you, and God bless.